Well, so what are we gonna do today, Cousin BW?
The same thing we do every day, Melvin. Try to take over the neighborhood. Hey y'all, Bloodwing here. Back to bring some grumpiness to the internet. As you all know, it's that time of the week again. Time for Heifer of the Week.
Are you finally calmed down a little bit, Cousin BW, after that fiasco on the last video getting muted by EMI?
Yeah, Melvin, I'm finally calmed down after getting it re-uploaded. That kind of helped. But it's time to move on. Can't dwell on it forever. So we're going to move on to the Heifer of the Week, which I've got a special surprise for everybody.
Ooh, I love surprises. So what kind of girl you got for us today?
No, it's no girl today, Melvin. In fact, this is going to be the second man that we've, if you can call him that, the second man that we've featured on Heifer of the Week.
Well, okay then. Last fella at Michael Rowland's, that worked out well. Is it a feminist, or an SJW, or one of them Black Lives Matter fellas, or what is it?
No, Melvin. In fact, it's none of those things. And all of those things. I know that probably doesn't make sense. But trust me, it'll make more sense as we go along. And so why don't I just introduce you to our Heifer of the Week at the same time I do our audience. So here we go. Scooter, hit that switch.
Heifer of the Week.
What? Oh no, not this guy. What? Cousin BW, you know he's crazier than a shaved mule in a toboggan race.
Yeah, Melvin. Yeah, he is. He's pretty crazy, all right. You're right.
Not to mention that he is dumber than a screen door in a submarine.
Yeah, he's that too, Melvin. Don't you remember when I started this series, the Heifer of the Week, I said it was going to be the person that I found to be the cringiest on that given week. And by far, this guy is cringier. Even with all the salty tears being cried by the Clinton supporters, I still find this guy to be the cringiest person I've run across this week. He may not be a feminist, may not be a social justice warrior or Black Lives Matter, but he's just as bad.
Angry MGTOW here, and today we're talking about Ted Bundy. And Ted Bundy was an American serial killer, kidnapper, rapist, burglar, and necrophile.
Glad you corrected that there. If you go through any of this fellow's videos, you find out he mispronounces a lot of stuff, even though he puts himself over as some kind of educated person, a sociologist, or some kind of bullcrap like that. It's baloney. You can tell by his voice that he's very young. He's a kid. I can tell by his voice that he's pretty overweight. And just by the way he talks, I'm pretty much betting that he's a virgin. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that's what adds to his being angry MGTOW. Now, if you don't know what MGTOW is, most of you probably do. It's an organization that started up in opposition to feminism. It means men going their own way. And it started out basically as people not wanting to get married, not wanting to get into lasting relationships, just dates here and there, and not wanting to get tied down with a woman. But it has devolved, at least parts of it has, into what you're going to see here from Angry MGTOW. Now, I don't know, I will confess, I don't know a lot about MGTOW, but I know enough to understand what it is and what it's supposed to be about. And I also know that this idiot cannot be representative of what most of them are. But it does make me wonder. I'd like to see the rest of them that claim to be MGTOW to come out and separate themselves from this guy, just like I'd like to see feminists separate themselves from Christy Winters and Anita Sarkeesian and those idiots, Big Red. But I picked this particular video because it just stood out to me. If you're familiar with this guy, if you've heard about him, a lot of you probably have, he's come to the attention of our little area of the internet because he's called out people like Shoe on Head, Bearing, Undoomed, Teal Deer, and the list goes on. All these big anti-SJW, anti-feminist content creators. He's called them all out and called them all feminist by some kind of twisted logic. And being an aficionado of serial killers, I know quite a bit about them. I know quite a bit about several of them. I've studied on it. Not because I'm some kind of weirdo, which I might be, I don't know, but because it fascinates me. I want to know what makes them tick, what makes them be the way that they are. It's just, it fascinates me that people are so amoral as a serial killer. You know, most have no remorse, and Bundy certainly did not. And Bundy is known as one of the most prolific. He actually escaped prison at one time, went out, done it again, got caught in Florida. He done many interviews. He helped, after he was incarcerated finally for the last time, he helped law enforcement with serial killer profiles and so forth. He was very well educated, very well mannered, and considered very handsome by the women. But just the things that he did, I was interested to see how this nutcase twisted the logic around to make him a feminist. So we're going to go back to the video and we're going to take a look and see just what it is that makes him think that Ted Bundy is a feminist.
Who assaulted and murdered numerous young women and girls during the 1970s and possibly earlier. Shortly before his execution, after more than a decade of denials, he confessed to 30 homicides committed in 7 states between 1974 and 1978. The true victim count remains unknown and could be much higher.
I just have to point out something here. I don't know if you've caught on, but I did pretty early in. He's reading verbatim from Wikipedia. And we all know how trustworthy Wikipedia is. Now, I didn't hear anything that so far yet in this video that I have any problem with. But he's obviously reading straight from it. I don't know. I don't use a script. I talk straight from my heart. I know a lot of people do use a script, and that's fine. That's up to you. But I let you know when I'm reading something. But if I'm just talking about something, you know that too. But yet this guy tries to put himself as being some kind of intelligentsia. But he uses Wikipedia, and he just reads it verbatim. You know. And doesn't even try to make it his own. But it gets worse, folks.
Bundy was regarded as handsome and charismatic by many of his young female victims, traits he exploited to win their trust. He typically approached them in public places, feigning injury or disability, or impersonating an authority figure before overpowering and assaulting them at more secluded locations. He sometimes revisited secondary crime scenes for hours at a time, grooming and performing sexual acts with the decomposing corpses until petrification and destruction by wild animals made further interaction impossible. He decapitated at least 12 of his victims and kept some of their severed heads in his apartment for a period of time as mementos. On a few occasions, he simply broke into dwellings at night and bludgeoned his victims as they slept. Initially incarcerated in Utah in 1975 for aggravated kidnapping and attempted criminal assault, Bundy became a suspect in a progressively longer list of unsolved homicides in multiple states. Facing murder charges in Colorado, he engineered 2 dramatic escapes and committed further assaults. You heard me correct. I didn't say one, two. He escaped from jail twice. The first time he got out, they caught him, and he got out again.
Yeah, that's what twice would mean, and I already mentioned that. 75 to 80% of this video is just you reading straight from Wikipedia. Now, I didn't look, but I'm almost going to bet that you didn't make that citation. And you're trying to make it look like you know all this. 75% of your video is just you reading from Wikipedia. And then you're going to spend the last 25% of it or less trying to make your twisted logic to make him into a feminist. Yes, he escaped twice. What's that got to do with him being a feminist? He was a sick puppy, as has already been pointed out by what you read. A very sick individual, very disturbed. He proved that if they had ever let him out again, he would do it again. When he escaped, he went on more killings across the country till he got to Florida from Colorado. So far, you've shown nothing but that you can read, very poorly I might add, from Wikipedia.
He further, after he got out, after he escaped, he committed further assaults, including 3 murders before his ultimate recapture in Florida in 1978. He received 3 death sentences in 2 separate trials for the Florida homicides. Bundy died in the electric chair at Rainford Prison in Stark, Florida on July 24th, 1989. And, I mean, this is how he's described. A biographer named Ann Rule described him as a sadistic sociopath who took pleasure from another human's pain and the control he had over his victims, to the point of death and even after. He once called himself the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you'll ever meet. Attorney Polly Nelson, a member of his last defense team, agreed. Ted, she wrote, was the very definition of heartless evil. Now, you have to really think about this guy very carefully. Think about what I've just told you about Ted Bundy. And I want you to really understand why this guy was a male feminist. He was gynocentric. And he focused all his attention on women. And he wanted women so badly that not only did he have to overpower them, he needed to have a sense of accomplishment by controlling them, by having sex with them, and even continually having sex with their decomposing corpses.
Wait. You finally get to the point. You finally get through reading what you want to out of Wikipedia, and this is your argument. Ted Bundy is a feminist because he's gynocentric, because he focused primarily on getting women as his victims? Man, this kind of mental gymnastics, you should be a triple gold winner. I mean, seriously. Look, I could have quoted you everything that Wikipedia said by heart, because as I said, I've made a study of serial killers. It kind of fascinates me. And Ted Bundy being one of the most well-known, of course, I've read a lot about him. Do you want to know why he picked women? There's 2 reasons, and you skipped that part of Wikipedia. You didn't go into it. 1, he was heterosexual. He had no interest in men. 2, they were easier targets for him because of his handsomeness and because of the way that he often got his victims to go along with him. He would often pretend to have a broken arm or a broken leg or some other thing and get them to help him carry things to his vehicle. And once there, he would subdue them and take them off and do whatever it was he'd done to them. He played on their sympathies, and we all know that one of the differences in women is they're more emotional than men. And they're going to fall for that sympathy a little more. And they were easier for him to subdue than a man would be. He wasn't an exceptionally large man. He went for the easy target. Now, some serial killers do pick male targets. Jeffrey Dahmer's probably the one that will pop to everybody's head first. But the vast majority will pick the easiest target. And that's what Bundy did. He went for easy. And he was heterosexual. Demented, twisted. Yes, he was a necrophiliac. He often went back and visited the corpses. But it doesn't make him a feminist. You've crapped on your own argument here and you don't even realize it. In that you've overlooked the whole reason that he picked women to begin with. You've made it sound that because he's gynocentric and because he focused on women automatically makes him a feminist. So any man that is interested in women, what are you going to say next? That you have to be gay to be MGTOW? Is that what MGTOW's about? I hope not. If you have any interest in women at all, which men are biologically predisposed to do, thank you very much, you freaking moron. I don't think I've ever met anybody as dumb as you. I would put you right in there with Black Hitler and Sin, certainly. You two would get along, if not for her being a woman and not liking white guys, and I'm supposing you're a white guy. You would get along very well with your twisted tinfoil hats theories and so forth. This just blows my mind. Bundy was a sick psychopath, but he was not a feminist, and if anything, he was the exact opposite. He preyed on their weakness. A feminist will hold up a woman as being strong. Bundy preyed on their weakness. Do you not even see, you frickin' idiot? Jesus, you're stupid.
Women were his entire world. His entire world. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you have to wonder how a guy ends up becoming like this. Usually it goes back to childhood and something that happened with his mother. And it's crazy because this is only a perfect example of how some men become the gynocentric and they eventually snap. I made a video about Elliot Rodger and I talked about how much of a male feminist this guy was. He had women on a pedestal, and when he couldn't have them, he ended up going after them. And Elliot Rodger wasn't ugly. He was not an ugly guy. He drove a nice car. He was trying to look as pretty as he could. I mean, but he had a hard time with women. And then look at Ted Bundy. This guy, on the other hand, he was so gynocentric that he simply stopped caring and got to the point where he started attacking women, killing them, and doing whatever he wanted.
Here again, the answer's right in front of your face. You've crapped on your own logic and you don't even realize it. Bundy done whatever he wanted. If he was a feminist, he'd be interested in what the women want. You don't even understand what a feminist is, do you, kid? Jeez. Just because a man... I'm so upset here, I'm getting tongue-tied. So bewildered by the stupidity. I didn't think anybody could be this dumb. I really didn't. And this isn't even the worst of his videos, folks. But by your own logic, that would make any man that cares for women, that wants a woman, that wants to have a relationship, a feminist. And that is ridiculous. Feminism wants to promote women, put them up high, promote them. Bundy, as your own admission, wanted to do whatever he wanted to do to them. Not what the women want, but whatever he wanted to do to them. Feminism today cries about the rape culture and how you have to get permission all the time and all these, even to have sex you have to stop and get confirmation. Oh, is it all right? Is what I'm doing all right? That's feminism. Bundy was the complete opposite, you idiot. And you see what I mean? I usually don't just throw out random insults, but this guy's stupidity is beyond the pale. And this is why I say I really think that he's a virgin. Or he's had a really bad relationship at some point. Probably stalked some poor girl that wanted nothing to do with him and turned him down, and now he's turned MGTOW and went completely bonkers. You can listen to some of his own videos, and he claims that the only way to go is to completely subjugate women and make them the second-class citizens that they are. And because the anti-feminist community, for lack of a better term, really don't, we got to come up with a better term than that, but just so you know what I'm talking about, because we believe in egalitarianism or equal rights among men and women, then we're automatically, in his eyes, feminists. And this guy's not alone, folks. He's got over 1,000 subs. If you go to his comment section, he has people, trolls that come out. Now, I wouldn't doubt that they're not just other avatars for him. In fact, I'm positive. I've watched one comment section go, he used more than one avatar, more than one username. So they may be ghost accounts of his. I don't know. This guy would be crazy enough. But he puts out a ton of content. I mean, literally dozens of videos a day. He does nothing more. He's probably sitting in his mom's basement. Guarantee he's a young kid. I mean, you can listen to his voice and hear it. You can hear his labored breathing, so he's probably overweight, doesn't get a lot of exercise. And by the very tone of what he's talking about, if he's had any kind of romantic or sexual relationship with a woman, it's been very little. The kid has lost his mind, plain and simple.
MGTOW are not like this. MGTOWs are going our own way. People think that MGTOWs hate women. People think that MGTOWs want to hurt women because of the things we say, that we don't want to have anything to do with them, or we talk about their true nature. Criticizing a woman is not equivalent to hating a woman. I think that MGTOW is one of the most healthy communities out there because we're actually talking about our feelings. We're expressing our thoughts. We're getting that stuff out. And it's not a matter of emptying your dick like some guys trying to find some girl to have sex with. We're emptying our minds. We're getting out those inner thoughts, those inner difficulties. For many of us, MGTOW is somewhat therapeutic. And it's important to put those thoughts out there so other men can talk to you and you can work through these things. Guys like Ted Bundy, he kept it all inside. And he eventually became a sociopath and went out killing people. Killing specifically women. Many of them.
Kid, there is absolutely nothing healthy about you. Your mind is twisted. And those that listen to you, their minds are twisted. And I really hope this is not what MGTOW is about. I really hope it's not. And if anybody listening to me is MGTOW, I got no problem with that. But if you agree with this guy, you're twisted too. And if you don't agree with this guy, I'm going to leave it up to you to shut him down. Because I'm going to tell my listeners that aren't MGTOW, don't go to his site. Don't go to his videos. Don't give him the clicks. Because I have no doubt that half of the reason he's doing this and why he picks on the bigger YouTubers in our community is for clickbait. But the other half is he really believes what he's spouting. Now, I don't normally do this, but I'm not going to put the link in the description. You can go find it yourself. Because I'm not going to help you go find him. I don't want him to have any more revenue, any more clicks. Don't go to his comments section and tear him apart. That's what he wants. He wants the attention. There's no way in the world this kid should already have over 1,000 views. But he does. And part of that the biggest part of that reason is because he's attacked Shoe on Head and Burying and Undoomed and Tildeer and on and on and on. And people have come to white knight them in his comment section. Don't do it. If you just gotta go watch one of his videos to see if I'm telling you the truth, go ahead. Or watch a couple. But, geez, just don't give this kid any more attention than what he's already have. And I'm not worried about him coming after me. My friend Irate Bear has contacted him, tried to get him on a live stream. He wouldn't even answer him. He doesn't care about those of us that are small. He only worries about the big fish because they can bring him clicks. Because he knows he cannot defend his arguments in a face-to-face live stream. He just would not be able to do it. No way. He doesn't have the brains. He doesn't have the wherewithal. Anyway, I have no problem here labeling him as the new Heifer of the Week. And so there you have it. It's all I can stomach of this punk. And so as always, get out of my yard.